First off, the big thing, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. In truth, the original plan was to do this video vlog style in person, but I wasn't able to get everything together. The next milestone, hopefully. In any case, I wasn't exactly sure how to celebrate the 1,000 sub milestone. I don't think my audience is large enough for something like a Q&A to work all that well, although if you disagree and have questions, feel free to send or comment them and maybe I'll put together a video about that. But ultimately I decided on creating this video, on a topic I've wanted to cover for a while. It might not be much, but I want to try and elaborate on my ratings and my process for all of you to hopefully assuage any issues of comprehension or interpretation or what have you on your end in the future. So I'll give you a short rundown on some logistical things, then go through each of my grades and what I feel to be its inherent meaning, and that'll be that. When I first started writing reviews, I knew I needed some kind of rating system. It's more or less a must when you do this kind of thing. You can get away without some kind of final verdict, but I figured why bother? Let's have a rating system. But then the question became, how should I rate? Because you see, I don't really like numerical scores. Decimal numerical scores especially are far too precise for my tastes. How am I supposed to meaningfully differentiate between an 8.5 and an 8.6, for example? What's the point of being so mathematical with your entertainment? So I prefer a few broad categories. However, I also didn't want to go with the basic buy it, try it, skip it, because that's been done to death, and thus I ultimately decided upon the letter grading system, which I have gone on to use since my very first review. Not that that's wholly original either, but I do prefer the letter grades because they allow some flexibility with my verdict while still being narrow enough to generally point out what I believe to be the quality of a work. It's the difference between precision and accuracy. Look it up. Now when I assign a grade, I try to keep two big factors in mind, both of which are hopefully pretty easy to grasp. The first is just how much I enjoyed the anime or game or whatever in question, how much I personally had a good time, how eager I was to click that next episode button, how much it stuck with me after a few months had gone by, stuff like that. I'm not going to be giving something I couldn't stand but was superbly constructed and intellectually stimulating an S. I'd feel like I'm lying both to myself and to you. Easy enough to understand? Then the second factor is a show's recommendability, which might at first sound similar, but there are key differences. I am not the end-all be-all of what makes a good series, and I recognize that. There may be things I like that most people can't stand, or things I hate that a lot of others are perfectly fine with. I won't call this the measure of objective quality, because true objectivity in these matters is impossible, but this half of the grade is thinking about what I feel will appeal to the average person, regardless of my personal tastes. Both of these components weigh heavily on each other whenever I decide a review's ultimate score, but both are critical. As such, strong enjoyment on my part of a mediocre series can noticeably boost the grade, or vice versa, or any combination of enjoyment and artistic merit you can think of. So keeping this in mind, that's enough chit-chat, let's get into it. We'll start at the top and work our way down, beginning with S. The top of the scale, so naturally the best of the best, more or less a masterwork. Its flaws are either practically non-existent or completely overshadowed by numerous strengths. I try not to give this rating lightly because it indicates something I feel, if you haven't already seen it, you should go out of your way to do so as soon as possible. In the past, I've given S grades to the likes of Fate Zero, Katanagatari, Parasite, Hunter x Hunter, 2011, Mushishi, and Gintama. Other series I'd consider about the same caliber that I have not yet reviewed include Steins Gate, Clannad Afterstory, Kids on the Slope, and Baccano. Chances are at least a couple of those names ring a bell, so you understand the level of quality I'm talking here. You can basically be guaranteed that anything I give an S is an absolute favorite of mine. Next, A. A great show, or at least a very good one. A slight step down, so not perfect, but at the end of the day, still an effort that should be applauded. Typically, there are only a very small handful of standout issues, but even these cannot completely mask the shine of quality. I've also been known to give A's to shows that may not have had any major flaws at all, but didn't click with me in just the right way. In the past, I've given A grades to the likes of Spice and Wolf, Gankutsuo, Toradora, Kara no Kyokai, The World God Only Knows, and Shin Segai Yori. Other series I'd consider about the same caliber that I have not yet reviewed include Durarara, Erika 7, Psycho Pass, and Noragami Aragoto. Next, B. A good show. At this point, I would never argue the experience is flawless, but there's no denying that there's still fun to be had. It might be worth your time at some point, but doesn't necessarily have to be a priority. In the past, I've given B grades to the likes of Fullmetal Panic, Haibane Renmei, The Boy and the Beast, Zetsuan no Tempest, Persona Q, and, controversially, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Other series I consider about the same caliber that I have not yet reviewed include Log Horizon, Hellsing Ultimate, and, controversially again, Fooly Cooly. Next, C. An average show. Good and bad points in fairly equal measure. While there may be fans of items with this rating, I found the experience by and large unremarkable, if perhaps still entertaining on basic levels. In the past, I've given C grades to the likes of Mirai Nikki, D-Frag, Aldanoa Zero, Tokyo Ghoul as a combined grade for both seasons, and GJ Club. Other series I consider about the same caliber that I have not yet reviewed include Gangsta, Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, and Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Next, D, an outright bad show. Perhaps there is a saving grace or two scattered here and there, but mostly an inferior piece. It is not entirely without merit, but that merit only shines through on brief occasions, punctuating long spurts of utter mediocrity. At this moment, I have only ever given out 3 D grades to Bartender, Ace Attorney, and Danganronpa the Animation, though the second seasons of Tokyo Ghoul and Aldanoa Zero would also qualify. Other series of about the same caliber that I have not yet reviewed and likely never will include Black Bullet, Terraformers, Chaos Head, and Dimension W. Lastly, F. An awful show, the lowest of the low. Any semblance of competent entertainment shrouded by the pervasive stench of flaws too numerous to even count. Such shows are at times painful to even keep watching. Avoid these at all costs. I have as of now only ever given a single F rating. 2. Lunar Legend Tsukihime. I would say the main reason I lack reviews with such low ratings is simply that I am not in the habit of watching truly terrible anime, and even if I was, it would be a real pain to devote so much brain power to reviewing something so terrible. In fact, at this time, I've seen only a very small handful of TV anime ever that I would be comfortable labeling as an F. Those being Gunslinger Stratos, Chaos Dragon, Pupa, and maybe Rewrite. If you haven't heard of those, great, there's a reason for it. So there you have it, the grading scale and what each letter really means. Maybe it was already pretty intuitive and you didn't need this explanation in the first place, but for me, videos like this can be fun to do. And I know it's a small number in the scheme of things, but thank you again for 1,000 subs. For the foreseeable future, I have no plans to stop.